first, let me ask you, Max, tell me what business you're in and what the objective of this phone call or this conference call is from your perspective.
I work in title and escrow. I'm with Chicago Title. My overall perspective of this video, or what I would like to gain or obtain from this call, is just being able to lead generate more, not only for myself, but help other agents as well with lead generation. I believe the more opportunity we have, the more we're able to, sharpen our sword, get better at our craft, and then make the most of those opportunities. So that's what I'm looking for out of this call.
Okay, great. Now, you're in the sales end of the title business?
Yeah, I'm in the sales end of the title and escrow business.
Okay, and are you targeting residential real estate agents for business?
As of right now, yeah, real estate, residential real estate, but I mean commercial real estate. We do all kinds here at Chicago Title. So
yeah, but you personally are not
right now going over corporate. Yeah, more residential right now.
And what did Valerie tell you about me and the subject, which we're going to be going over, is the TRANS-TRAC system, which is a transaction tracking system for real estate agents?
Yeah, not much. So I'm coming into it open-minded and ready to learn.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give you a little background about me and the relationship I've had with Valerie in the past, and where I'm at today, and how it's possible we may be able to help each other out in our respective businesses. Okay.
Okay.
I was a real estate agent in Las Vegas for 20 years or so, from 1995 or 6 or something like that. And I went till 2007 or 8. Anyway, after I was in the business about 10 years, let me pull this up. I got real busy, and I worked with a guy as a partners, and we were closing 5 to 10 deals a month. And we were going, okay, we need to get organized. So I created a tracking system for keeping track of, did we put a lockbox on this house? Did we put a sign on that one? Oh, closed. Do we remember to pick up that lockbox? Every lockbox you forget on a property is $100 or more now, I'm sure. So we had to keep track of all the little things. And I created a board that hung on the wall, sort of like where the map here is of the United States. But it's like, yeah, it's that size. And it was 30 columns for all the steps from the time you list a house till you close it. And then each row was a property, and we could keep track of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Realty Executives was the company, and my office was right next to the broker. And people would walk by, go to the broker's office and glance in our open door and see this board on the wall, and agents would come up and say, look, I need a copy of that. That would be great for me to keep track of my business and stay on top of stuff. So that was after I was in the business about 10 years. And so I actually created a 3-hour CE course, transaction tracking, how to keep things from falling through the cracks. Got approved by the real estate division, and I sold with it, laminated a board and put a 3-ring binder together that had, pages for each transaction with the contact information and that kind of stuff, right? And I sold that for a number of years while I was doing real estate. And Valerie offered to publicize the basic training course. And I'm going to share with you a flyer that she produced. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
So transaction tracking, how to keep things from falling through the cracks, right? And it's, create your own business systems. You'll learn how to manage 5, 10 or more transactions at once, learn to create a team. So these are all the benefits. It was held, this one was Monday, September 27th, 2010. So that was 14 years ago that Valerie was working, and there she is.
Oh, wow.
There's a picture of her.
This is the Tasmanian devil herself.
And I blacked out the confidential. She was with a different company at the time, but they provided a room for the course. Had this class, people would come in, and I did it 5 or 10 times. I don't remember how many. And about 50% of the people would actually say, hey, I'm willing to pay you $100 to get a copy of that system. Right? I showed people how they could build it themselves, but then I said, if you want to build it yourself, you can, or I've got it prepackaged, ready to go if you want to pay me a few bucks, right? Some of the people in those courses would ask me and say, hey, can you make it a Google Doc And I just, I mean, this was, 14 years ago, and I'm going, what's a Google Doc, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to remember that. One day I'm going to figure out what a Google Doc is and how to share it, and because people were asking for it, right?
Right.
And so it was about 7 years ago where I had some time on my hands, and I actually built a Google Doc. And it's just a spreadsheet that, you've got the property address, client name, and you go through the list price, the expiration date. So these are all the tasks that are involved in a listing. If you've got a buyer, you're not going to put a sign up or enter it in the MLS or, do that kind of stuff. You're not going to be marketing a listing if you're the buyer's agent. All the other steps is once you've got a sale, you've got to, open escrow, go, make copies for your broker, etc., all the way up until you, get a closing gift and archive the file for your clients, right?
Yeah.
As you see, number 2 here, row 2 is Main Street. There's tabs down at the bottom. I'll say, well, number 3 is North Court. If I click on number 3, then you've got the details for all the contacts, the other agent, escrow officer, loan officer, phone numbers. So there's a place for you to make all the phone calls and contacts. And then you can come down in here, you could just type in notes when something happens so you can keep track of things. And then also, if you hire an assistant and you want them to install a lockbox, I want my assistant to install lockboxes for me because I got to be out listing and selling. Then the assistant just has to say, well, oh, look at, there's no date here under column J, so that needs to be done for West Boulevard. So how do I do it? Well, I go down to J down here, and it shows me these are the steps for install a lockbox. Get the keys, test them, make sure they work, consult the sellers, where to put it on there, put a lock in it, mark it as completed, etc. So it's a procedures manual for real estate agents who are hiring assistants or brand new agents that are, new to the business and don't know what to do, right? I did this 7 years ago. I created this spreadsheet, and then I did videos that show how to do it. And I posted it on udemy.com. As you see here, I've got 4,482 students have registered in this class in the last 7 years. And so in the last 7 years, it's averaged 33 per month. And I thought, well, it's time to make it a software where somebody can actually get more out of it and pay on a monthly basis. So I have just finished the beta version of the software. So when someone logs in, they'll be taken to the list of transactions, which is just like that spreadsheet that has all the steps from A to Z, except for now there's a lot more functionality to it. Feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions.
No worries. So you know how like when we would go to on the Google Doc sheet J and it would take you in like the details on installing the lockbox?
Yeah.
Now, when you click on that empty box, does it now take you there to show you that?
Thank you for asking. It actually has several options, and this is where it really ties in with you guys, because right now you see you have to first choose a team. So as an agent, I'll probably be on one team, but there are transaction coordinators that work for multiple teams. And some of these transaction coordinators, may work for agents that are at different companies even. And so each company or each agent or each team is going to have different procedures. So what happens if I click on the empty spot here, it shows that there's 4 transactions that that I have access to, as I'm up here registered as Brad, and Brad is a transaction coordinator, and I'm on 3 different teams, right? So right now, the beta testers team and the Gus's Go-Getters team are the 2 teams that have transactions occurring. If I want to know how to install a yard sign and there's no team selected, you're given the generic instructions that you would get on the spreadsheet that will say, find an order from the sign company in or at, and there's a blank spot because each company has a different place to go find the order form to put a sign up, right?
Okay.
And then you complete the form and, send it to the installation company as follows, which may be fax it for one company, maybe email it as another, etc., right?
Yeah.
So you've got all those different procedures. And there's no way, this is just the generic that is there all the time for whoever starts using the system. Now, what will happen when I go to the Gus's Go-Getters team and I go to install a yard sign, it says edit procedure. This means that since I've selected a team, I can now change the instructions. It says fourth save for the Gus's Go-Getters. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to change it to the 5th. I hit edit. So what happens is when I hit edit, it gives you the generic instructions that were on the empty page, right? And if I want to just go like this, I'm going to copy all that. And if I go here, I can actually just delete everything and then hit paste. And I can type in whatever instructions I want. I'm just going to call this 5th, for 5th save. All right, there we go. And I had already changed this before, find the order form. The receptionist has a file, ask him or her, put the instructions in as follows. Let's say you just email to service@signedcompany.org, right? And then I hit save. There's the procedures, email at service signed company. These are the current procedures for Gus's Go-Getters team. So if I go out of here and I install a yard sign, that's a Gus's Go-Getters, right? But if I go to beta testers team and I hit install a yard sign, it's whatever their instructions are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So each team will have the opportunity to save their own instructions.
Yeah.
Make sense? Now, this is where the key comes in, is we get to this few steps that involve you guys, which is open escrow. If I have no team up there, I hit open escrow, they're more complicated. So I'm just going to go over this kind of quickly. There's open escrow if it's a buyer's agent, or open escrow if it's a listing agent. A buyer's agent says deliver the following documents to the escrow company, and then these are the A through E. You got to copy the transaction page, which is another page on this system that has all the context. You need to give them the earnest money and other documents. These are the procedures for generically doing it, right? And this is procedures for generic, because no team has been selected. Now, if I go to AFX Research and I hit, where's the open escrow? There's open escrow. Documents can be uploaded at go.inhere.com. That's the server. That's what you use, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I've already gone into the AFX research team.
Yeah.
And change these instructions, or else you can go to nevada.ctc.com, open an order, and there's another way to open an order with your company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So anything can be added in here. Now the question would be, is how do you get real estate agent to go into, let's say, seller escrow appointment? There's another place where they're going to interact with you, because there's going to be a place time to schedule an appointment, right? And they could do it through in here. Right?
Yeah. Yes. This
is another place we could put a link to in here, saying when you're ready to schedule, go.inhere.com, and and I can have all the instructions. You guys could feed me instructions. I can put it in there for them, right?
Perfect.
Or what would really happen is you would give you the instructions to a real estate agent and have them copy PDF document and paste it in here. So every time that they have to do that, their instructions are at their fingertips, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other option is if I go to buyer escrow, okay, that's saved. Okay, you see this? This is when the agent first goes into the system and they have not yet saved any instructions. This button save shows up and it doesn't say edit. So what they need to do is hit the save button on every one of the steps. And then I'll show you in a minute when they go to the actual task, whatever they've saved will show up in the tasks as well. But these are the pre-printed or generic instructions. Down the road, someday, maybe Chicago Title and I could figure out a way to have the instructions to open escrow with Chicago Title be the generic instructions.
Yeah.
right? That's there automatically, and then it would force the users to then change it to something else if they wanted to. But the starting point could be Chicago title.
Okay.
But right now, I'm just in the beginning stages, right? And giving you this, let me go back to over here. Now, a few things I'm going to let you know about how this is laid out. If you notice that you've got the team on the left, you got the address, and it shows it's a listing and it's under contract. You know, this is a listing that's been listed, but it isn't under contract. And this is a purchase that's under contract because they've got a buyer's agent. And so you'll see the listings that are under contract have these first two rows have steps involved all the way to the end of closing, right?
Yeah.
Now, a listing that is listed but not under contract just has the steps up to the sales date, and that's empty because they're waiting to get a contract, right? And then the purchase, where the agent represents a buyer, starts at the contract due diligence date and goes till the closing, right? And of course skips these two, which is remove yard sign and lockbox, which is, you know, you don't do if you're a buyer's agent. Now, anything that is due more than 5 days out is, you'll see, is in black. If it's been completed, it's in green. If it's past due, it's in red. If it's due in 5 days or less, it's black with a shadow of red behind it. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
So there's 4 colors that we've set up to make it visually apparent.
Okay.
Now, any one of these tasks, like this one here, is due 9/9, which is in 5 days. It's a marketing for Gus's Go-Getters team on Lang Road, and it's assigned to Brad, which is me. My first way to see that is I actually just click on that square. You know, well, marketing, this is the generic instructions because I haven't selected a team. But if I click on that square, it takes me to the actual task. And from here, I've got the instructions for my team. As I mentioned just a minute ago, I said I'll show you where they show up.
Yeah.
So in order for it to function properly, whenever an agent joins a team, he or she needs to go through each of those tasks and save them to that team so that they'll show up here. Once they're saved, changes will show up here as well.
Okay.
And on here, this is Gus's Go-Getters team. There's 3 members, Tom, Mary, and Brad. I can actually assign it to somebody else. I can just, you know, unclick me and it's assigned to nobody. Or I can click assign to Tom Jefferson, and it's now Tom's job to do this task. Now, let's say Tom does the task, but is out on the road and I'm in the office and he doesn't have time to, you know, pull it up on his phone or tablet. And he said, but he calls up and says, hey, Brad, will you mark that task completed? I just click the button, complete the task, and it's yes, completed by Tom is an option. But if he didn't actually call me and tell me to do it and I took over his task and I completed it myself, I'll click completed by me. And then if I go back to that sheet, completed by Brad on 9/4. So that records the day it was completed and by who, right? I can also, if you see on this first dashboard, the bottom one, these are the tasks that are assigned to me. This lists all the tasks that I have to do, oldest ones first, and then the ones further out down the road. I also have a list of contacts, you know, and a list of properties. So from any of these screens, I can, you know, go to, let's say, Gus's Go-Getters, Bear Valley Street. If I click on that, it takes me to Bear Valley, shows me where that house is. I can zoom in on it. That's my old house when I lived in Vegas. I had a 50-foot swimming pool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my old house. These are the current owner is listed, and the current occupant is Fran Tarkenton. I'm a Vikings fan, and he was the Vikings football quarterback. And I can remove Fran as an occupant and say somebody else is living in that house. William Lender is add as an occupant. So I can adjust who owns the property, you know, add them and take them off. And if I go back to, you just hit the TRANS-TRAC board up here, and it takes you to the dashboard, which the default is a list of transactions, okay? So that's really, I imagine this as a, you know, if it's a broker that's, you know, doing this for their whole office, a broker can, you know, have a TV on the wall the size of that, map behind me or bigger, and then just see everything that's going on in the office and stay on top of stuff, right? But we'd have to set permissions so that the broker doesn't change, stuff. Broker's job is just to supervise, and we can adjust the permissions so that somebody that signs up and as a broker just gets to look at it, and we'll know who's assigned to, what's late, what needs to be done, all that stuff. And they can look for, like I said, different teams. I can choose, is it a listing or is it a purchase? Oh, there's no purchases under Gus's Go-Getters, but the beta testers has one, right? And once a property gets closed, it disappears from this screen. And so I can look up canceled, or just listed or under contract, canceled or closed transactions. Make sense?
Yeah.
So you can narrow down and look at whatever you want. So that's kind of an overview. What kind of questions do you have?
I mean, none as of right now. I mean, it kind of acts like an SOP as well as CRM for a brokerage, or as well as any listing agent.
What is an SLP?
SOP, standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
Because
SOP,
anybody can go on and click, how do I do the marketing? And this is how standard operating procedure, how you should do your marketing. How can I install a lockbox? Standard operating procedure on how you. So it's basically a 2-in-1 with the CRM. So
yeah. Well,
that's really awesome.
Yeah, and have you priced CRMs for real estate agents?
Yeah.
What do they cost?
Real Geeks, I think, is on the low end. I think you could start in for $250 a month and just get the basics.
Say it again. $2.50.
250, I think. I think it's $250
for an office or for
an agent. I do believe. I could be dead wrong on that.
Okay.
But
yeah. I thought most of them were running anywhere from like $30 a month to $200 a month. But
no, I think a lot of them now incorporate leads. I know they get up to $2,000 a month and they incorporate leads. So
yeah. Well, here's this is what drives me nuts. Okay. If you look at the Association of Realtors and you say, what is the source of clients for real estate agents? I think 90% of all the real estate business that's done by realtors comes from referrals.
SOI.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, and when agents start spending money on, advertising or trying to find business like that, it's not where business comes from. And so I'm a big advocate of Brian Buffini's methods of doing business. Are you familiar with Brian Buffini at all?
Okay. No, not at all.
He's a by referral only. You can look him up, and he does training. He's a sales trainer. But I've taken Brian Buffini and 100 other trainers in real estate. And the bottom line is you got to take care of your clients, and they'll do repeat business and send you referrals. And the problem with real estate and with this new lawsuit that came through, and what I've been advocating for 20 years since before I came up with this system, is that real estate is just is not professional enough. If you go to a doctor or a dentist, okay, Max, does your dentist take your x-rays? No. Does your doctor take your blood pressure or your weight?
No, a nurse does that.
No. There's this other people do all of the little things. It doesn't take the skills of the professional, right?
Yeah.
And real estate is run like a doctor that has to take his own blood pressure and weigh his clients, and a dentist that needs to do the x-rays and do the cleaning of the teeth. It's just inefficient. It's huge. And the big problem is because real estate agents are independent contractors, and the brokers can't tell agent, okay, your job is to put lock boxes on, and yours is to put signs up, and yours is to, do this and that. This part of the transaction. So the key with this system is that as the real estate business transforms to one that is efficient, that is run like doctor's office and dentist offices, you're going to have licensed agents that are doing just listing appointments, just writing contracts and that kind of stuff, right? And you have to farm out all these little tasks, and that's why you need the procedures right there, so you can hire somebody at, you know, minimum wage or better, hopefully, that can do the stuff that doesn't take a lot of skill.
Yeah.
Agents are already getting 90% of the business from referrals. And with this lawsuit, when half the agents are gone, the successful ones are going to have to be able to handle 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times more transactions than they do now. Then when they get to that point, they're going to be charging 1% or 0.5% or 1.5% or some smaller fraction like other countries do. It just needs to become more efficient. And this is the methodology that it can happen as a transition. You're not going to, you know, make everybody employees overnight like that, but you can develop teams, and the teams of the real estate business have been, you know, people have been trying to make teams happen for years, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are successful. And they're not going to have to do advertising and looking for business. It's like doctors. You know, a doctor is turning away business because they're so busy and there's only so many of them. And that's what real estate needs to be, is we need to have 20% of the number of realtors that exist now. And they have to be really busy, and they're not going to be looking for business anymore. And shouldn't be paying for CRMs that get you leads, because if you're good, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is you get these companies that are charging $200 a month or whatever for a computer program. Real estate agents don't have the time to figure that out. Those programs, they've got to go in and create these task lists themselves. And then they've got to create all the procedures themselves. I give you, these are the steps and these are the tasks. You do them, and you can go into each one and like I say, go through the SOP, the standard operating procedures, and change them and adapt them. But these are the steps that need to be done. You need to submit it to the MLS, submit a file for the broker. You know, when you get a listing, you need to put a sign on, lockbox on, do some marketing, you know, and then when it sells, you got to, you know, submit that sales file. You got to open escrow. You got to review the HOA. You have an inspection. You have an appraisal. You review the escrow instructions when they come back and approve them. You order a home warranty. You have the seller sign their docs, have the buyer sign their docs. Then you do a walkthrough. You get the closing package. You get the yard sign off. You get the lockbox off. Buy your client a closing gift and archive the file. There's no more tasks and no less tasks that need to be done. And these $50 to $200 CRMs make agents figure out what those tasks are and create their own lists. And I've done it here. And then what do? They give you a 14 days to 30 days free trial so you can test it out. Well, how ridiculous is that, Max? As a new agent, you're going to need at least 30 days to find a client, to get a sale, let's say. You're going to, or a listing. And you're going to need another 30 days to find a buyer for the listing. And then you're going to need another 30 days to close it. You know, so you need at least 3 months to test the software system out. So that's why this system, I'm giving people a 100-day free trial, so they have a chance to actually use it in real life for a full transaction, right? And it's $12.95 a month. You know, and you don't have to be computer genius. I saw CRMs are they're way too complicated. They're written by people who write computer programs, not real estate agents. And even the ones that, you know, say they're written by real estate agents, I don't believe it, you know, because they're too damn complicated. To think of anything simpler than this?
Yeah, no, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me do a demo for you.
Okay.
Because the first thing you do is you find a contact, right? You have to get a contact. So I'm going to use you. Is that okay if I use you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Max is your first name. What's your last name?
Terrell, Terrell.
Terrell. Okay. And your Chicago title. I'm going to add a property for you. What's your office address?
I don't know my office address. My house address is 7649
and
Mallard Bay
Mallardbay
Avenue,
and the zip code
89179.
9179. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you: do you own the house or you rent it?
Own.
And your email address is
max.terrell@ctt.com.
Okay, and it's 702
912
912
3812.
3812. And I'm going to put you on my Gus's Go-Getters team. And you're escrow officer or assistant?
Officer or assistant.
Escrow assistant. And are you also potentially a seller or buyer or an attorney, inspector, anything like that?
Seller.
Seller? Okay. Okay. So now then I hit a button, create contact and enter new property details. Boom. I put your address in. Does this look like where your house is?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. And you're listed as the owner and the occupant. Now, if this is a rental property, I could remove the occupant and add somebody else. I could put the, parcel number and a photo of the property, but that's it. So I've created you, I've created a property, and now I want to create a transaction. So I click create transaction. Boom. And I'm on that. There's Max Terrell. You're the seller. That's your address. It's your phone numbers. I'm on the Gus's Go-Getters team, and so is Mary and Tom. So that's all the information for the team on Gus's Go-Getters. And I'm going to say this is, let's say, a listing, and it's listed, and we just put the date in 09/04/2024, and let's say we're 12/31/2024. And how much is the house worth? 650.
540, I think, is what my Zestimate was.
Okay, there you go. All right, and I could put in the existing mortgage and the home warranty, which would be information when you open escrow you'll need, but I'm going to leave it empty in there. And I can do notes, demo. All right. Now I've got load listing task list. So what happens, I click that list right there, and those are the tasks that are involved in that I need for for a listing, right? I go to the board here, and where is it? Lang Road. No, wait, no, Mallard Bay. There it is.
Yep.
The listing listed 540. And these tasks are all in due, and they haven't been assigned to anybody yet. So because now I can go here, I'm going to close that down. So I can click on each one of these and assign it to somebody, right? Mary agent, there you go. And now it's assigned to Mary.
Okay.
And I've calculated the due dates based on the listing. And then if I go back to here's Mallard Bay right there. If I change it from under contract, now I fill in the sale date, close of escrow, due diligence, commission amounts, and I can add the context to it. Like the buyer's agent, I'm going to click BA, and buyer's agent shows up down there. And then if I look for, I can do a fuzzy search, but I'm just going to click B for buyer. So I got buyer's agent and buyer right there. And then the escrow officer, I'm going to add Sally Escrow is the escrow officer. And then we got a let me do a loan officer and a loan processor. And then this is all right there. And when I said, when you open escrow, all you have to do is, hit print, to a PDF. There you go. And then this is what would be part of opening escrow. You've got all the contact information, everybody that's involved and stuff, right?
Perfect.
I mean, it's simple. And I've calculated the dates on, the task being due based on whether it's so many days after you list the house, or so many days after it goes into escrow, or so many days before, you close, certain different, or et cetera, et cetera. So those have all been adjusted. But they can be changed by the user as well, because you can go into that, one of these tasks, and say, I want to change the, this due date, to submit to the MLS. We got an extension. They're on vacation. We got an approval not to put in the MLS right away. So we're going to change the, due date from the 6th to 09/15/2024. There we go. So now if I go back to the, the transaction, where is it? It
goes in black.
Oh, is it? Yeah, right there. Yeah, 9:15, because it's far enough out that it's not got the red. So
yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah. it's pretty self-explanatory from this point on. So the question is like I had before, here we go, 14 years ago, would you guys be interested in sponsoring an introduction to this system like I'm doing with you to agents? And in that process, I know you can't directly, say, you have to attend something to buy it, but I can tell agents you can create your own system using a board, and these are the steps, and take them through the steps, and they can then see if they'd like to pay $12.95 a month after a 100-day free trial.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we would love to run with the demo on it and see what we could do on my end. I have to go over everything with Val as far as like anything. So also have her
That's
watch
why this will be recorded, and she can bring it back.
I'll have her watch it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. All right.
All right, Brad. And then, yeah, I'll follow up with you after I talk with her.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So
awesome, Brad.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Take care. I'll see you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.